Okay, we're reading the first few chapters of Austen's first finished novel, which is called Northanger Abbey. And she finished it in 1803, but then it wasn't published until after she died in 1817. She's writing it as a sort of send up of the sentimental novels like Evelina that we read and like uh, the monk, sort of Gothic novels. She's talking more in Northanger Abbey about books like Anne Radcliffe's The Mysteries of Udolpho, which is a Gothic novel like The Monk, but it's scaled back. It's less scandalous and crazy. Um, and the beginning of the section that we're reading today is talking about Catherine as being born not as a heroine, that she's not just the most beautiful girl we've ever seen, the way Antonia is, or the way Evelina is. And she goes to Bath, and this is her great adventure, but no one overturns the carriage on the way. There are no bandits that get them, which is a joke about Gothic novels. And then she gets to Bath and she doesn't know what to do, and there's nobody there who thinks she's so beautiful. And that's a joke about sentimental novels like Evelina. She's soon introduced to Isabella Thorpe, who becomes her confidant. But Isabella turns out to play more like the whore and the virgin whore dichotomy, even though partly maybe because Isabella seems to know how to play all of the rules in society, whereas Catherine's totally ignorant. And it's her very ignorance that attracts Henry Tilney to her, who's our hero. And he teases her about things like, perhaps you keep no journal, perhaps you write no letters. And she's like, I don't keep a journal or write letters. And he's like, but then how will you tell all of your friends all of your adventures? And this is a reference to something like Evelina or epistolary novels, where all of the letters have to be written to tell everyone, to fill everyone in. And we get an omniscient narrator here, which is a huge shift for novels of manners or the evolution of sentimental novels. And then Isabella sort of walks her through the story, sort of saying, I know you're secretly in love with him, or I can tell that there's more to the story. And Catherine's like, I don't know what you're talking about, because she really doesn't. Whereas in sentimental novels or Gothic novels, Antonia or Evelina are secretly in love, maybe, or at least overly interested in, and Catherine doesn't know how all of that is supposed to work. At the same time, we really like Catherine, and we like her especially because she reads novels. And there's this really famous moment at the beginning of Northanger Abbey where our narrator jumps in and said, yes, my heroine reads novels. And I know you're not supposed to read novels. It's not the done thing. It's not what people tell you is a quality book. But in novels, we get the best language, the best stories, the best conversations, and they're written by women. And all of these history books written by these other people are boring. And then she says something like, if the heroine of one novel won't defend other novels, then I don't know who will. And the novels that Catherine likes to read are these Gothic romances. So again, I mentioned Anne Radcliffe's. Later on, The Monk comes up, but she describes them as horrifying and awful, and she's fascinated by them, intrigued by them. And later on in the book, Northanger Abbey becomes this sort of send up of both sentimental novels and Gothic novels. And the book is this beautiful transition from 18th century to technically 19th century, novels, both because we get an omniscient narrator and because the novel follows a structure that we're used to today, but also because it's this ironic book that's very aware of itself and its the traditions into which it falls. I love it. Okay.